How long should a dissertation actually take? I'm going to walk you through a realistic dissertation timeline with actual timeframes from idea to defense so that you can plan your time, reduce overwhelm, and avoid common pitfalls. There are 6 key phases that every dissertation follows, so let's break them down so that you can build a plan that actually works in real life. The 6 phases are prospectus, proposal, IRB approval, data collection, analysis and write-up, and defense. Start with number 1. Number 1 is the prospectus. Now, this is called different things at different universities, but it's essentially where you define your research topic and you pitch it to your chair or committee. You're looking for a specific gap in existing research that you can actually fill within a reasonable time frame. Now, a lot of students cycle through 2 or 3 ideas before landing on their final topic. That's totally normal. But it's important to have a reality check. A lot of students go way too broad or way too ambitious in the scope of their study. So I'd recommend looking at past dissertations in your department and noticing how specific they really are. Number 2 is your proposal. This is chapters 1 through 3, and this could take a minimum of 4 months if you're lucky. Now, your proposal is going to be where the real work begins. You'll write 60 to 70 pages covering Chapter 1, your introduction, Chapter 2, your literature review, and Chapter 3, your methodology. Now, here's what the 4-month timeline assumes: well-written drafts and responsive committee members. Now, the reality is both of these things rarely happen at the same time. So I would expect 2 to 5 revision rounds. If your committee takes weeks to respond, or if your writing needs major work, both of which are true in most of the doctoral candidates' cases that I've seen, this phase can easily stretch from 6 to 8 months. Now, I've also seen people take a lot longer than that, even up to multiple years to get their proposal approved. But if you have the right support, like an amazing supervisor or a great dissertation coach, you should be able to make it through within about 4 to 6 months reasonably. Pro tip, join our free dissertation help community. It has live trainings and Q&As and our entire dissertation acceptance course. Just click the link in the description and you can join completely free. Number 3 is IRB approval. Now, this could take anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks. The bottom line is no data until the board says so. So the Institutional Review Board, the IRB, they're there to ensure that your study is ethical, that it protects your participants. And the amount of time that it takes to get this approval can vary widely depending on the type of research that you're doing. So a simple survey, that could be 2 or 3 weeks. Standard interviews, like the type you do for a regular phenomenological study, those might take 4 to 6 weeks. Research with children or vulnerable groups like people who are incarcerated, that could take anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. One common mistake that doctoral candidates often make is forgetting to factor this into their timeline and then feeling like they're behind because they've taken 6 weeks to get IRB approval and they're already behind on their data collection. Number 4 is data collection. So the timeline for this, again, vastly depends on the type of study that you're doing. It has the widest variance of any of the phases of the dissertation process. It can take anywhere from hours to more than 6 months. And this phase also has the potential to derail your entire timeline. So what does this look like depending on the different study types you're conducting? Well, if you're doing a quantitative study with existing data, it could take as little as a few hours to download and format the data. If you're doing surveys, it might take 4 to 8 weeks for responses, depending on how many you need to get and how available your population is. If you're doing interviews, say with about 5 to 15 people, which is often what you need for data saturation, it could take, say, 2 to 4 months. That includes scheduling, conducting the interviews, and transcribing them. Now, if you're doing ethnographic work, that could take as much as 6 months or more in the field. It's important to follow the buffer rule here. So whatever timeline you think you'll be on, add 50% more time. So if you think it's going to take you 2 months to collect your data, go ahead and plan for 3 months, especially for qualitative work, because the truth is, this is one of the most dynamic and unpredictable parts of the dissertation process, and you've got to be prepared for a few surprises. Number 5 is analysis and write-up. This is your chapters 4 and 5, and this could take anywhere from 3 to 9 months. This is where your study becomes your contribution. The first part is chapter 4, reporting your findings, and that might take 1 to 2 months. Chapter 4 is really similar to chapter 3. You're basically saying everything that I said that I would do in chapter 3, I did all that, and here's what the results are without any interpretation. Now, chapter 5 is where you're interpreting the results, and you're connecting that to literature and suggesting future research. Now, that might take anywhere from 2 to 4 months. You'll also have to factor in revisions based on your committee's feedback, and they'll be giving you feedback on your whole dissertation. Ideally, your chapters 1 through 3 should already be in pretty good shape, but every now and then you get feedback on that as well. So you want to budget about 1 to 3 months for that. Now, a quick warning, this is where many students stall out. The analysis paralysis is real, so get support if you need it. Number 6 is your defense. Now, this might take 1 to 3 months to complete after your final draft is accepted, because even after you finish writing, you're not done yet. So what this is going to look like is getting your committee's approval to defend, which could take 2 to 4 weeks. Then scheduling your defense. That could be anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks, depending on faculty availability. Then your final revisions after the defense. That should really take 1 to 2 weeks, assuming the revisions are minimal. And your committee really shouldn't approve you to defend unless they feel that your dissertation is already at that level to be accepted. So in most cases, you will be approved with minimal revisions. Now, here's the reality of faculty. They take vacations, they go on sabbaticals, and they miss emails. Summer defenses are especially tricky, but make sure that you're planning ahead and you know what your committee members' schedule is going to be, so that you don't get all ready to defend your dissertation and then realize that they're taking 6 months off. So what blows up these timelines? The truth is, the timeline isn't the dissertation. Life happens, and your plan is rarely the reality. Here are the top timeline killers. Number 1, committee members who disappear for months, no explanation. This is a true story from countless doctoral candidates that I've talked to, and unfortunately, this often delays people. Number 2, major life events. Could be an illness, a job change, a family crisis. This is another common reason that a lot of doctoral candidates get delayed. Number 3, scope creep. When your study keeps getting bigger and say you get a grant to, instead of do 20 surveys, you do 150. That kind of thing can vastly expand the timeline versus what you originally planned on. Number 4 is perfectionism paralysis. A lot of doctoral candidates want to feel like their dissertation is the absolute best work that they can do, which is honorable and noble and a very good instinct. And if taken too far, it can stop you from actually submitting a very, very good dissertation, or have you stuck rewriting things, adding citations upon citations, and not actually moving forward in the process of graduating. Number 5, inadequate writing skills. The truth is, a lot of people get to the doctoral level of education without having the academic writing skills necessary to actually get their dissertation approved. If your drafts are coming back with a lot of comments, this might be you, but hiring a good editor or coach early on in the process can help you move through the process much, much more quickly. And if you want to work with us, we're happy to help you out. Just click the link in the description for more info. The truth is, even if you get held up in your dissertation timeline, none of this means you failed. This is part of so many people's dissertation experience. It's part of what makes it difficult, but there is a way through, no matter what obstacles you're encountering. Now, here's the reality of full-time versus part-time. Everything that I've gone over is assuming that you have more or less full-time availability to work on your dissertation. So if you're part-time, if you're working full-time, if you have family care, childcare responsibilities, you might need to expand this timeline to fit your other commitments. If you're working full-time on your dissertation, 1 to 2 years is a reasonable timeline, assuming everything goes pretty smoothly. If you're working part-time on your dissertation, you have a family and a full-time job, 3 to 4 years is pretty normal. If you're working part-time with major life disruptions, well, there are plenty of people who take more than 5 years to finish their program. Now, while that's obviously not ideal, if this is you, don't worry. This is totally normal, and there is a way through. Ultimately, what matters is not how long it takes you to get the degree, but the fact that you've gotten it at the end. As ideal as it is to go through your entire dissertation writing process in 16 months, ultimately it's not about finishing quickly, it's about finishing it all, and finishing well. So build a plan that accounts for real life, committee delays, revision rounds, and the fact that you're human, and you have a life, believe it or not, beyond your dissertation, whether or not it feels like that right now. I hope this was helpful. Check out our other videos and click the link in the description below to join our free community where we can help you graduate on the timeline that works for you.